Hey, it's Hiroki Ross, and today we're back with the podcast. Last week we talked about whitewashing in media, and we talked about, just people of color getting casted as white actors, which, isn't right. But today I decided, I want to talk about something a lot more easier to talk to, just my own opinion. And yeah, so, I'm not a person that watches a whole lot of movies. When I do decide to watch one, I obsess over it, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't watch many movies, but among the few movies I did watch this year, I wanted to compare two of them and analyze them since they are pretty unique in their own ways, but they still kind of reside in the same genre. And these two movies are Soul, Pixar's newest film about finding your purpose and passion in life, and it's a really spiritual, emotional journey with stellar animation. The other movie is Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, a movie about a man that transforms into a gigantic rabbit and eats a bunch of veggies. And you wouldn't believe it, but these movies are both honestly fantastic in their own ways. And I thought, due to the large differences in their plot simplicity, it would be pretty interesting to compare the two. So, how about we begin with the harder movie to analyze? That, of course, being Wallace and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit is a 2005 stop-motion animation made by Aardman Animations. It was directed by Nick Park and Steve Box. Its cast consists of Peter Salis as Wallace, Ralph Fiennes as Victor Quartermain, and Helena Bonham Carter as Lady Tonnington. The plot is amazingly simple, and it definitely works in favor of the style and charm that, Wallace and Gromit is all about. If you haven't watched Wallace and Gromit, basically, it's a man and his loyal silent dog, and they just kind of like do every like short or movie, they have some random business. Like sometimes they're bakers or they, I don't know, invent stuff. They're always inventing stuff. Their house is very mechanical and they're just a lot of fun to watch. And in this movie, the town's annual vegetable contest is actually under siege by rabbits, eating all the vegetables. So Wallace and Gromit start a humane pest control business known as Anti-Pesto, and they run out of room to store the rabbits since they're humane, they can't kill them. So Wallace creates a brainwashing machine to make the rabbits not like vegetables anymore because he himself does not like vegetables. So he puts his brain on one end of the machine and then he puts a rabbit on the other and connects the two. But then there's a full moon and it kind of hits the machine, and the machine actually malfunctions, and Wallace and the rabbit's mind begin to fuse, and the machine breaks. Everything actually seems fine. It's like a little scary moment, but and they test it, and the rabbit doesn't like carrots anymore. But little do they know that this begins Wallace's descent, where he turns into the were-rabbit, which is basically a giant bunny that is very strong and just loves eating vegetables. And I won't actually spoil the rest of the movie for you, but this premise should be enough to pull you in. And this movie, while not having a super intricate plot or any emotional scenes or any themes, it's still a lot of fun. Wallace and Gromit as a series is never supposed to be taken seriously or regarded as an intense animation in any way. It's filmed with charm and humor, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And the animation is honestly some of the best stop motion animation still so far. Even being a 2005 movie, it's such a joy to watch jump around the screen, and there wasn't a time in this movie where I wasn't engaged by how fun the animation is. And this movie isn't really underrated either, because it actually won Best Animated Film at the 2006 Academy Awards, actually beating out Howl's Moving Castle, a Studio Ghibli film. And this movie it's just brilliant, especially with the villain being a legitimate threat, yet also being a big part of the humor. Victor Quartermeyer is a hunter, and he's trying to woo Lady Tonnington, who's this very rich and powerful woman that lives in the town, who is Wallace's love interest. And he's just a hilarious character. He has a toupee, he has a very short stature, yet he's still a threat. And there's actually this kind of spoiler, but in the movie, Victor obviously finds out that Wallace is the were-rabbit because he follows Wallace into the forest, and then he tries to fight him, to win over Lady Tonnington, but then the full moon hits and Wallace turns into the were-rabbit, and then Wallace throws Victor onto the hood of the car, and Gromit's inside of the car, and he's just seeing all this. And Victor's face, he looks at Gromit, and he has like kind of a scared face, and then he just turns into an evil grin. And that face he makes is just filled with such villainy when he realizes that he can kill two birds with one stone. He can save the town from the were-rabbit and get rid of Wallace, and it's perfect. Like, and Gromit too, his Wallace's dog is a protagonist. Is always a lot of fun to watch too. He has no lines in this movie since he's always been a silent character, yet he still shows emotion and humor in just facial expressions. It has a great soundtrack composed by Julian Knott and actually composed by the Hans Zimmer. The music perfectly encapsulates what the movie is about: charm and humor. And Aardman has just done such a stellar job with this movie, and I hope we can see a modern day return of the duo since we haven't gotten much Wallace and Gromit in the past. I think 2006 we got the last one. Not exactly sure, but yeah, I hope we can maybe see. I know Netflix is thinking of bringing it back, but hopefully we can see something. Yeah, for now, for a much more intricate and modern day movie, Soul. Soul came out recently. It actually released on Christmas Day. This is being recorded on January 21st. Soul is a 2020 animation from Pixar. It was directed by Pete Docter, and its voice cast, it's not like a lot of big names. It's really only Jamie Foxx as Joe Gardner and Tina Fey as 22, Soul 22. And I saw this movie on, I think, Boxing Day. I watched it, and I didn't really know what I was like going into it. I kind of remember seeing a teaser for it, and I just thought the animation looked really well, and I just thought, oh, this guy dies or something like that. I'm not sure. But then I watched the movie, and yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Pixar movies. Like the story is that Joe Gardner, a middle school band teacher living in modern day New York City, dreams of playing the piano in a jazz quartet, something he's wanted to do since he was a teen boy. He feels really trapped in his day-to-day life, and he wants more. And he actually finally gets an audition to play in legendary Dorothea Williams quartet, and he feels ecstatic with himself. He feels like, he's about to reach his dream. And then while he's walking home, he actually falls into a manhole and dies. I'm not joking. This actually happens. I wasn't expecting this from a Pixar movie, but this is definitely one of the more deep Pixar movies, for sure. And he dies, and then we get a nice thing of his soul basically falling, and then he goes to this place called the Great Beyond, which is a giant staircase where souls go to die. And while there's other souls there, walking up the staircase getting ready to, we don't really know, but I'm assuming just kind of go into the afterlife. But he decides, he's not ready to die, he's about to hit his dream, so he jumps off the staircase and he actually enters the Great Before, a place where souls are prepped to be sent to Earth. Here he's mistaken for a soul counselor, someone who did like exceptionally well on Earth, like Mother Teresa and Einstein when they died became soul counselors essentially, and then they have to counsel a soul that's like being prepped for Earth that needs help to find their passion. And Joe gets actually paired with soul number 22, and each soul is numbered by the time they were made. So like, let's say someone born in like 2020, that would be like, I don't know how many people there like have been in history, but the 22nd soul to ever exist goes way back, like probably like caveman times, right? So this kind of shows that this soul, well, played by Tina Fey, is a stubborn, cynical soul that finds no reason to live on Earth. And I won't spoil again the rest of this movie, but this movie like really exceeded my expectations and made me cry a lot more than I thought it would. It has amazing animation, easily the best in any animated film. The music is incredibly made. Joe Gardner and 22 have a lot of good chemistry together, and the ending is very well done. In my opinion, this movie has one of the most important themes out of any movie I've seen, and has really resonated with me, where it's important to live life just to experience being alive, feeling your senses, like seeing everything, hearing birds chirp. It's really made me have a kind of a different outlook on life. And the sound design is incredible. Editing, cinematography, it's all like it's such a fun movie to watch just because of the animation as well. And because it has Joe Gardner, he likes jazz, right? He is a middle school band teacher. They do a lot of jazz stuff in the movie, and it's just, oh, it's so good to hear. Jazz is such a unique style of music, and it works so well for this movie. And there's a scene at the end of the movie where Joe kind of realizes that, life isn't about chasing one stupid passion. Or not stupid, but life's more about the journey behind getting to that dream. And it's honestly one of my favorite movie scenes. It's like it has so much emotion well behind it, and it's very well made. And yeah, like the colors, well, it made me really think like, colors they're really a special thing, right? It's a beautiful movie. Yeah, Pixar definitely raises the bar once again within their spectacle of animation. So, you take these two movies that are same genre, but they're like basically different, I'd say, but they still have things in common. One thing I believe the two things have in common is a spectacular soundtrack that fits their movies respectfully. Soul has a soundtrack that's really encapsulates what it's all about, and you can never really go wrong with sweet, smooth jazz. And while Wallace and Gromit doesn't have a super intricate soundtrack, the beauty of it is that it doesn't need a super intricate soundtrack. A simple soundtrack for a simple movie, and this soundtrack has all the classic Wallace and Gromit charm. Another thing the movies have in common is they both convey facial emotions very well. Joe Gardner is a very expressive person in Soul, and it's always easy to tell what he's thinking due to how well they animated his face and how they're able to show the viewer how he feels without explicitly telling us.
Now, you're probably wondering, how does Wallace and Gromit do this with such a different animation style? The key to this answer is Gromit himself, the loyal, silent dog. He never speaks throughout the movie, but we still know what's going on in his head due to how he's able to convey emotions through his snarky eye rolls, and you can tell when he's focused or afraid. You just have to watch the movie to kind of know what I'm talking about. And it's amazing what they can do with such a different style of animation. Like it's very fun to watch. But for the two contrasting things behind this movie, the themes are definitely something to talk about. Wallace and Gromit has no deeper meaning. The characters don't really learn anything in the end. Like they're just always kind of trying to fix some issue with the town or themselves. Does this make the movie bad? No. Like a movie, I don't think a movie has to have some really deep themes to be a good movie. And especially with Wallace and Gromit, like you don't need super deep themes when you have witty humor. Now, Soul, on the other hand, I don't have to say a lot to say that this film has extremely deep themes. People struggling with mental health, people that feel empty, etc. Will have a lot to resonate with this film. Which another contrast between the films is I don't think that Soul is a very good kids movie. It has its goofy moments, but I think its themes would fly over a child's head and they just kind of be bored throughout it. It's like not as fun to watch if you don't really resonate with the themes. But Wallace and Gromit has no themes, and the kids can just watch, a bunch of claymation figures running around. Does that mean that Soul's a bad movie? No, I'm actually very impressed that Pixar produced such a mature animated film, and it makes me really excited for the years to come with the studio. Very excited. But, for the concluding questions, we are actually going to do some Academy Awards. And the first award is which movie better represents the genre of family comedy? And 100% Wallace and Gromit take the cheese for this one. It's such a fun movie where it's fun for the whole family, where adults can still enjoy it as well as children. And I think that's like where you hit perfectly with an animation is when children will enjoy it and adults will enjoy it just as more. Like Incredible, SpongeBob, these are all like pieces of animation I think do well in that kind of genre, I guess I just said. Soul's still a decent family movie, but its themes aren't as relatable as to children. So I don't know. Like, I feel like if I was like 10 or 9, I wouldn't really enjoy it as much. I think it'd be pretty bad. But since I'm at this age where I'm trying to figure out everything in life, it's like a perfect time in my life to watch it. And now for the second award, which movie is more engaging to watch? And honestly, in my personal opinion, I gotta say Wallace and Gromit again. I think Soul's the better movie, but Wallace and Gromit is just like an hour 20 of just fun. And with humor and wit and good animation, like I don't know. Like I just enjoyed watching it more. I think it's funnier. Like Soul obviously made me feel more. Wallace and Gromit has no sad feelings. It's just good. Now, for these last two awards, they're kind of the same. Like I'll just kind of lump them together. It's which director did a better job with the genre and which movie I would recommend to viewers of this genre. Because obviously I'm going to recommend like which one is the better movie basically for that genre. And yeah, Wallace and Gromit has won all the awards this time because I still think Soul is the better movie, but it is not a family comedy movie. This is like a drama adventure, I'd say. Because Wallace and Gromit, it's a family movie and it's a comedy. It has action, it has adventure, but the two big things are it's enjoyable for the whole family and it's funny. It's a lot funnier than Soul, and it just tells a simple story. While Soul's themes will kind of be lost in the minds of children, like I said. It's funny, but it's not as funny. So I still think Soul's a great movie, but if you want a movie to watch with your family, just watch Wallace and Gromit. It's gonna be a lot better. But if you want a movie to watch like by yourself or with a few friends that kind of will probably appreciate the themes of Soul, then that's definitely a movie you'd want to watch. So yeah, if you have a family and you want to watch something, watch Wallace and Gromit. If you're by yourself and you want to feel very sad, watch Soul. But that's about all the time I've got. But I hope this podcast inspires you to watch either or both of these family comedy movies. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and I hope all my listeners have a stellar day.